can you get productive conflict? When somebody can say to you, you know, this needs to happen differently. And you can really talk about issues and talk about the ideas and get that productive juice going that we were talking about before, and really comprehensive solutions. From there, then you can get real buy-in, right? And I don't know about you, but you've probably seen on many teams either compliance or, you know, just sort of people checking out, as you were saying before, or people going through the motions but not really being bought in. So when people really can debate issues and they weigh in, they can buy in. And it doesn't have to be consensus necessarily, but if they feel heard and you really have listened to them, then many times they really will go along and give their best, right? And then from there, you can have accountability, peer-to-peer accountability, which is always the hardest. I have a great PowerPoint that I didn't include here, but it's a rowboat out at sea, and it's tipping, and one end is clearly going down. There's a hole on one end of the rowboat, and the two guys at the top and two guys at the bottom are trying to do something. But the two guys are at the top are saying, I'm sure glad that hole isn't on my side of the boat, which is kind of typical in corporate life, right? We do a little bit of blame game, and it doesn't matter, we're all going down. So you have to have that peer-to-peer accountability and the focus on the collective results, not just me working on my career and, you know, making sure that my team gets what they need, but that we're really looking at it from an overall corporate or, you know, organizational perspective. Make sense? Okay, so fast forward again. We've diagnosed your DiSC style, or we've assessed it rather, right? So how many people here are familiar with DiSC again? Raise your hand. Okay, good, most. So you may or may not have seen the way that I like to debrief it, but I like to talk about needs and fears, because in conflict, when people's fears are triggered, they're likely to move into unproductive behavior, as we already said. But if you meet their needs, they're likely to do what? Go along, or, you know, be healthy in their behavior, essentially, right? So it's important to understand this. And underneath the model, I could get into Marston and all that, but it's really about somebody's preference for controlling and adapting, or affiliating and detaching. So you know, how many of you are parents? Okay. How many of you were a kid? We all were at one time. And it's interesting, if you watch a group of kids playing baseball or softball or something, you know there's always that one kid who wants to sort of take over and be the leader and say, okay, you're going to play first base, you're going to play third base, you're the pitcher, et cetera. And then the rest of the people are just happy to kind of go along and have a game, right? So that happens in organizational life. And as you know, the D's and I's tend to like to control. The S's and C's are more likely to adapt to the needs of the existing situation. Likewise, there are people who just like to affiliate. They like to work with teams. They like to connect, they like to collaborate. They tend to be high in influence or steadiness. And it's not a one-to-one correspondence, but in general, someone with a strong D preference or a strong C preference tends to be a little bit more on the detached side. And I would actually like to figure it out myself first, and then I'll talk to you about it, right? And so oftentimes they're a little bit more task-focused, and the I's and S's can be a little bit more relationship focused in the process. So this is neither good, bad, right, nor wrong, but if you can see the fears here, the fear of someone with strong D preference is a loss of control, and they like achievement. For the I's, it's really the fear of losing influence, and even, you know, their need is not so much recognition like a pat on the back or money, but attention. So the worst thing you can do is ignore somebody with a strong I, right? I's, like, hear me, I have something to say. And the S's, their fear is disappointing other people, so they want to maintain harmony many times, and they need acceptance. And then the C's are often about correctness, and so their fear is being criticized for their work, right? So if you understand that, then you can help meet somebody's needs and not trigger their fears as much as you possibly can, right?